My name is Antoine Whitlock, and at 68, I've learned that surviving my own family is harder than surviving age itself. I was born into one of the old money lines of Northern California, yet somehow I grew up as the invisible Whitlock, the one everyone talked over, talked past, and talked down to. While my brothers built empires and my daughter-in-law slid effortlessly into power, I became the man people assumed would never matter. Maybe that's why I kept quiet for so long, why I let them believe I'd stay harmless. But everything changed the day my wife died, and the day someone decided to rewrite her will without telling me. And if I had walked out of that room 5 minutes earlier, I never would have answered the call that proved someone in my family wanted me erased. The conference room at Calder and Denton overlooked Market Street like a goddamn courtroom. 10 chairs, one man left standing. Me. Rebecca Carrington, my daughter-in-law by title, predator by instinct, sat at the head of the table in an ice gray pantsuit that probably cost more than the attorney's retainer. Her smile wasn't fake. It was worse. Practiced. To begin, she said, flipping open the portfolio in front of her, we'll move straight to the distribution terms of the Whitlock Trust. Nobody looked at me. Nobody asked me to speak. It felt surgical, like they'd already amputated me from the legacy. I counted 3 lawyers in the room, 2 from the estate firm, 1 I didn't recognize. He didn't introduce himself either. The Whitlock logo was projected on a flat screen behind them like a brand on livestock. Rebecca's voice cut through the room. The estate value currently totals $77 million. We are allocating. A pen clicked. A throat cleared. No one interrupted. She continued. As per the directive updated on March 3rd, the primary beneficiary of the trust is Rebecca L. Carrington. Pause. No inflection. I blinked. March 3rd. That was 2 weeks before my wife, my Olivia, fell into her final coma. Rebecca didn't even look up. The remaining members of the Whitlock family are not named as direct inheritors. Per Clause 14C, the trust authorizes full discretionary control to the primary beneficiary. I couldn't breathe. I stood up, slowly. There must be a mistake, I said. My voice cracked, not from weakness. From rage I was too old to swallow. Rebecca's eyes finally met mine, cold, flat. There isn't. Just that, there isn't. I turned to the lawyers. None of them moved. One looked vaguely embarrassed. The youngest one tapped his phone screen like he was timing his own silence. I co-managed the trust with Olivia, I said, louder now. She would never. You co-managed the old version, Rebecca cut in. Not the revised one. Her hands never left the table. Her voice never shook. Your authority ended the day. She designated me. They moved on like I'd left the room. Stocks, property, vintage winery rights in Napa, liquidated accounts. Not a single mention of my name. I sat down, fists clenched under the table. I stared at the floor because if I looked up, I might punch someone. Money only reveals what was already there, Olivia once told me. Greed is just truth with a sharper edge. I left before they finished. Didn't say goodbye. Elevator ride down was the longest 60 seconds of my life. When the doors opened to the lobby, the cold air outside hit like concrete. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. I almost ignored it. Almost. Mr. Whitlock. The voice was low. Nervous. Yes. This is Jonathan Kemp from Belmont First. You're listed as an alternate contact on the Whitlock Trust file. Pause. There's something you should see. Someone accessed the account 3 days before your wife passed. The entire trust, $77 million, was authorized for digital migration. Migration, I asked. To a secondary holding structure under a new controller ID. Silence. My grip tightened on the phone. Who is the new controller? I can't say over the phone, but the authorization used biometric data. What kind? Voice print and facial scan, he said. From your home office IP. He lowered his voice 1 notch. Sir, were you in the room when the trust was moved? Someone took the money before she died, and they used your name to do it. The gravel crunched under my boots as I walked the vineyard path back to the house. Clouds rolled thick over the hills. The air carried that sharp electric scent that comes just before a storm. Wet soil, something waiting to break. I hadn't said a word since the call. $77 million. Gone, moved, from my home office, with my voice, my face. I unlocked the back door, alarm system still blinking green. No break-in, no warning. Just gone. Inside, silence pressed against me like a second skin. Olivia's photo on the mantel watched me. She hated that picture, said she looked too perfect. Like I don't exist behind the smile. I stared at the office door. Key in. Turn. Click. Monitor still warm. Mouse still blinking. Someone had used it. Recently, I pulled the bank call back up. Belmont first. Voice print logs. Transfer ID. Encrypted biometric auth codes. My IP address. My damn office. Someone had used this room, this chair, to erase me. I reached for my USB. Plugged in the backup drive. A beep. Then black. The entire screen went dark. No fan. No light. Gone. A few seconds passed. Then a white line blinked in the center of the monitor. You should have stayed quiet. I yanked the USB out. My hands trembled. Paranoia isn't a symptom. It's a warning. I looked behind me. Nothing. Still nothing. But it didn't feel empty. It felt watched. Cutscene. Iris Delcourt met me 2 hours later at a diner off 3rd and Folsom. 20-something, high heels, low profile. New at the firm, but smart enough to know when something stinks. I shouldn't be talking to you, she said without looking up. Then don't, I said. Just listen. I slid the photo across the table, screenshot from the deleted file log. Time-stamped, March 3rd, 2:43 a.m. Same night, Olivia's vitals dropped, I said. And this file wasn't wiped. It was extracted into a drive not authorized on our network. Iris narrowed her eyes. Her lips tightened. You're saying someone inside the firm moved it? I'm saying someone didn't want me to know the trust was restructured before my wife died. And someone used my face to make it legal. She hesitated, fingers tapping her ceramic mug. Rebecca pushed the revised trust through faster than standard protocol, she finally said. The firm didn't challenge it because, well, your wife wasn't expected to last another week. I leaned forward. But she did. Iris didn't answer. Instead, she slipped a flash drive into her purse. Quiet, precise. If anyone asks, we never had this conversation. Back home, the storm finally broke. Rain slammed the windows like gunfire. I went into Olivia's bedroom. Her things were still untouched. Her scent still lived in the fabric of her scarves. I reached for her old medical bag, one we kept for overnight hospice runs. Something shifted in the bottom. A plastic case. Labeled Cam 03, hospital issue, security footage. I held it like it was glass, plugged it in, grainy footage. Hallway, room 14C, Olivia's private suite. Timestamp, March 3rd, 2:39 a.m. A figure entered. Tall, slim, scrubs. Face partially turned from the camera. Hair in a net. Surgical gloves. Moved straight to her IV line. Paused, checked vitals. Then leaned down, close to her ear. Paused again. No sound. Then turned and walked out. I paused the video. Rewound. Played again. Slower. My breath caught. The way the figure walked. The posture. The tilt of the head. The shoulder twitch. It wasn't random. I'd seen it before. On someone I knew. Someone who claimed to be in Chicago that night. Rebecca. But if Rebecca was in Chicago, then who the hell was standing over my wife's bed? Tuesday, 10:12 a.m. I stood in the marble lobby of Belmont First, a place so sterilized it could have doubled as an autopsy room. Chrome surfaces, no fingerprints. A guard in a tailored vest scanned me twice before waving me toward the elevators. Floor 39, private banking. A receptionist with teeth too white gave me a practiced smile. Mr. Whitlock, Mr. Barron will see you now. The door closed behind me with a soft hiss. Just me, a banker in cufflinks, and a screen displaying a 7-digit number I hadn't touched but somehow had authorized. I want the transfer trail, I said. My voice was steel. Mr. Barron adjusted his glasses, tapped his screen, didn't flinch. The funds were migrated through a Tier 2 shell account, he said. Encryption standard format, requires dual auth biometric, voice and facial scan. Whose voice? He turned the screen toward me. My face, frozen mid-blink, time-stamped March 3rd. Sir, this authentication originated from an IP registered to your home. My blood ran ice cold. I didn't do this. He hesitated, then tapped again. A PDF slid into view. Signature authorization form. My name, my handwriting, my damn signature. Except it wasn't mine. Not the pressure stroke, not the slant, not the instinctual skip I always left on the W. It was good. Too good. A forgery from someone who studied me. Who received the funds? I asked. He paused, just long enough for it to matter. I can't disclose client identities. Don't insult me. He glanced at the glass wall, then back. The account designation is Whitlock 003B. I froze. There were only 3 people ever assigned numbered codes in the Whitlock financial hierarchy. My father, my late wife, and who has access to 003B? I can't say. He stood, then leaned forward, voice just above a whisper. But I will say the facial scan ID match was under 93%. That's unusually low for a biometric access log. Cut. The Napa estate looked different when you suspected someone had been inside. Dust should have been where it always settled, but a faint handprint smudged the glass above the wine cabinet. Olivia's wedding ring, missing from its dish. I opened the old filing chest, checked the double bottom. Still there. The ledger. It wasn't financial records. It was something Olivia kept for herself. Dates, initials, scrawled notes beside them. March 3rd. She asked again. Refused. February 18th. Email went out. He didn't reply. Might be watching. One line repeated. Don't trust the one who smiles. I flipped the last page. A key card fell out. Black plastic. Faint lettering. Sub-level vault. Whitlock archive cut. That night, I sat in the kitchen. One lamp on. Silence thick as molasses. Thunder cracked once. Then again. Closer. The power cut out. Not by accident. The hum of the fridge died. The house held its breath. Then, glass shattered. I didn't move. Footsteps. Deliberate. Careful. The hallway creaked. I reached for the drawer, pulled out the old fireplace poker. Steel. Heavy. Shadows stretched under the doorframe. A figure moved past the living room, then stopped. The silence screamed. I tightened my grip. The figure turned, walked to the dining table, placed something down, then left. No rush. Just walked out. I waited until I heard the front door click shut. Then I moved. On the table, a single sheet of paper, my forged signature form, still warm, fresh from a printer, and scrawled across the top in red ink. Stop digging or we start bleeding. If they're breaking into my house, the next step is to take me out completely. The night tasted metallic, cold air, cold fear, the kind that creeps under your coat and settles in your ribs. I drove toward the abandoned Whitlock archive on the east edge of Napa, an old industrial wing my father once described as where the bones are buried. He'd meant it figuratively. I wasn't so sure anymore. The building rose like a concrete tomb. No lights, no guards, just a rusted gate and a padlock someone had already cut. That part scared me more than anything. I stepped inside. My footsteps echoed in a tunnel of steel beams and dust. The air was thick with the smell of oil, mildew, and something sweet, like old wine gone bad. A phrase Olivia loved floated to mind. When someone hides the truth, they always leave the smell behind. She said people couldn't help it. Their secrets leaked. I found the elevator to sub-level vault. A keycard slot, same black plastic I found in her ledger. I slid it in. A long mechanical groan. Then the doors opened. Cut. The vault wasn't just a room. It was a bunker. Red emergency lights flickered overhead. Rows of metal shelves stretched into darkness. Boxes stacked like headstones. Files tagged with dates that predated my birth. A hum vibrated through the floor. I took a step. The floor clicked. A hiss exploded behind me, like a lung exhaling fire. A blast of hot air hit my neck. Smoke erupted from vents I hadn't noticed. Then the metal shutters slammed down over the exit. A trap. I dropped to the ground, crawled under the smoke. My lungs burned. My eyes watered. Vision blurred to red halos around every light source. My palm hit something hard. A wooden case. Heavy. Ornate. Whitlock crest carved on top. I shoved it into my jacket and pushed toward the far corner where the smoke was thin. My shoulder slammed into a release lever, pure luck, and the shutter clanged open just enough for me to squeeze through. I stumbled into the stairwell, fell down 2 steps. My left arm cracked against the metal rail. Pain tore through me like lightning. Bone. Definitely bone. I bit down on a curse and kept going, because someone had tried to kill me, not scare me, end me. Outside, I sat against the hood of my car, sucking breath into my bruised ribs, rain soaking into my shirt. My hands shook as I opened the wooden case. Inside were documents tied with red string, contracts, bank transfers, offshore filings routed through RC Consulting. My throat tightened. RC Rebecca Carrington. A flash of dread sliced through me. Rebecca hadn't just seized power. She'd prepared the takeover long before Olivia died. At the bottom of the case, beneath the contracts, was a small audio recorder. Old, dusty. Olivia's handwriting on the tape. Play if I don't wake up. I pressed play. Static. A soft inhale. Then her voice. Antoine, if you're hearing this, it means I didn't get the chance to tell you the truth. Rebecca approached me months ago. She wanted access to the offshore assets. She said it was temporary, tax restructuring. I refused. My pulse hammered. She came again after that, with someone else, someone I knew, someone I trusted once. They wanted signatures, control. And when I tried to stop them, I started getting sick. Not all at once. Slowly. A pause. A breath caught. I think they're poisoning me. The world tilted. A slow-motion reel of images. Olivia's trembling hands, her sudden confusion, the rapid decline the doctors hadn't been able to explain. The recorder clicked again. I kept notes. In the ledger, the initials you'll find, they aren't business notations. They're warnings. The last person I added was the one who convinced Rebecca she could finish the plan without you. Someone who knows your patterns, your voice, your signature. My heartbeat slammed against my ribs. That person is closer than you think. The tape ended. I sat frozen. Closer than you think. Wind howled across the empty lot. Cut. My phone buzzed. Blocked number. I nearly threw it. But some instinct, the same instinct that kept me alive in that vault, made me answer. A low voice spoke. I saw you go in. Bold move, old man. I scanned the shadows around the car. Who is this? Someone who's been watching this family far longer than you realized. A breath. Not rushed. Measured. You're not supposed to find the vault, and you're definitely not supposed to find what she left you. She, I whispered. Your wife, the voice said. She wasn't the only one keeping records, but be careful. You're not the only person who listened to that tape. What do you want? A soft chuckle. To warn you, they know you survived the vault, and they don't make the same mistake twice. Rain hammered the windshield. Lightning flashed in the distance. Who are you? I asked again. Silence. Then, Archive 77, that's all you need for now. The line went dead, and with that, I knew nothing about this was random. Not Olivia's illness, not the forged signature, not the intruder in my home, not the vault designed to kill me. Patrick didn't just leave me out. He tried to warn me, and they killed him for it. Wednesday, 6:43 p.m. I wrapped my left forearm in gauze, tight but not professional. The break was clean, the pain wasn't. Every throb reminded me I wasn't just being hunted, I was late to the game. Iris called as I loaded a thumb drive with the recordings and ledger scans. Tomorrow, she said, her voice sharp. Press Club downtown, 2 p.m. Be ready to burn everything. I didn't ask what changed. She sounded like someone who'd been followed all day. Iris, are you safe? A beat. Silence. We're not going to be if we don't move now. Click. I left the house through the vineyard gate, not the front door. I'd stopped trusting thresholds. The air was thick, California winter threatening one of its rare storms. Black car across the street. It blinked its headlights once, then nothing. I kept walking. The San Francisco Press Club sat like a lion's den in marble and shadow. Private rooms, private clients, private stakes. I was halfway across the street when a black SUV swung the corner hard. Too fast, too tight. Tires screamed. I turned. Then hands grabbed my coat, yanked me back. A second SUV slammed into the first. No horn, no scream. Just glass and steel. Then a van pulled up from nowhere. Door slid open. Two men, tactical, unmarked. No time to shout. A rag went over my face. Sweet. Chemical. The world went black in 5 seconds flat. Waking up was slower. Concrete beneath me. Cold and wet. Somewhere dark. Somewhere underground. A single bulb flickered above. The scent was old wood and wine, strong, musky. I knew that smell. The old Whitlock wine cellar. I groaned, tried to move. Zip ties around my wrists. One was cutting into the wound on my arm. Footsteps. Then a voice I hadn't heard in a decade. I told her not to get greedy, said Jerry Whitlock, my brother. His voice was lower now, tired, not guilty, resigned. I turned my head. He stepped out of the shadows in a long coat. No gun, just calm. She's making a moves I didn't approve, he said. You were supposed to disappear, Antoine, not get buried. You're part of this? I spat. He shook his head. No, I built it. She corrupted it. I stared. Rebecca? He nodded once. She's not a puppet, Antoine. She's the one holding the strings now. I just signed off because I thought she'd handle it quiet. Surgical. I looked around. Empty, but for a single table and an unopened bottle of red. You're going to kill me in our father's cellar. No, he said, suddenly grim. She is. Or was. Before I made a call. The lights snapped on. Door slammed open. Men in black stormed in. Federal jackets, badges, voices, shouts, guns drawn. They tackled Jerry in seconds. Federal agents! Hands where we can see them! One grabbed me, cut the ties. I blinked at the flood of light. Iris stood behind them, sweating, pale, but holding her ground. You wore a wire? I asked, dazed. She held up the tiny mic taped to her collar. GPS too. When you didn't show, I called it in. One of the agents knelt beside Jerry. He's clean. No weapons. Iris walked over, tossed me a burner phone. You need to hear this. She pressed play. A voice crackled through the speaker, Rebecca's voice. I want him gone. I don't care how. Just do it before the press sees him. Then another voice answered, one I didn't recognize. I need more than your word. You'll get access to the OTI3B account after, full, clean. My stomach twisted. Rebecca had hired a cleaner with Whitlock funds. Jerry was just a middleman. The knife didn't twist until he looked up at me and whispered, I did what she told me. She runs the show now. She's not done yet. And now she knows I survived. Thursday, 9:18 a.m., Federal Courthouse, downtown San Francisco. Rain slicked the marble steps. Cameras waited like wolves. I climbed alone. Inside, the courtroom buzzed. Journalists, family trust lawyers, a few Whitlock investors with fake smiles and folded arms. Rebecca entered through the side doors like a queen on trial. Black dress, pearl earrings, calm. She didn't look at me. She didn't have to. That was her game. Power was silence until it wasn't. Iris leaned in. Everything's in place. Once the judge sees the full record, we drop the tape. I nodded once. Keep your back straight, I whispered. The people who fear you the most will always act like you don't exist. Proceedings opened. Neutral tone, legalese and land deeds, tax structures, corporate maneuvering. Then came the digital forensic report, the altered signature, the fake IP logs, the access trail to the OTI3B account. I watched Rebecca's knuckles stiffen on the table. Still, no flinch. Then Iris played the tape. Rebecca's voice, crystal clear, cold. I want him gone. I don't care how. And the answer, you'll get access to the OTI3B account after, full, clean. Gasps. A rustle of papers, a dropped pen. The courtroom cracked like glass under heat. Still, Rebecca didn't react until the judge looked at her and said, Ms. Carrington, do you have a response to these allegations? She smiled. It wasn't fake. It was weaponized. Your Honor, she said, rising, these materials have been manipulated. My voice was spliced. My identity used in a smear campaign. I have evidence to prove Mr. Whitlock fabricated this entire conspiracy to re-enter control of the estate. She turned. I request a full psychiatric review of Mr. Whitlock's state of mind and immediate injunction of all further proceedings. There it was. She'd planned for the fire. Brought water. Iris stood. Your Honor, I'd like to admit one more piece of evidence. She handed the bailiff a drive, a pause, a click. The projector lit up. Video, a dark room, a hidden camera, time-stamped. Rebecca, sitting with a man in a white coat. The hospital administrator. They were discussing sedatives, doses, duration. And at one point, Rebecca leaned forward, smiled, and said, Make her sleep. We'll handle the rest." The room exploded. The judge banged the gavel. "Recess, 10 minutes. I want the defense in chambers immediately." Rebecca didn't move until two agents came up behind her, whispered something. She froze, then tried to step away. They took her arms. No cuffs. Not yet. But the room didn't miss what just happened. Outside, I stood under the awning. Rain came down in sheets. Reporters shouted, "Mr. Whitlock, any comment on the charges?" I didn't speak. What was there left to say? They always ask the survivors what they feel, but never how much it cost. 2 weeks later, the trust was reinstated. Fully, publicly. The nameplate changed. Antoine Whitlock, executor. I didn't celebrate. Instead, I walked the vineyard in silence. Past the rows of vines Olivia planted herself. Past the oak where she used to hang wind chimes. I sat on the porch with an unopened bottle of red and a single glass. Watched the fog roll in. The truth never saves you. It just strips away everything that lied to you. At the end, all I had left was what couldn't be forged. My name, my memory, and the quiet that finally meant peace. She stole the fortune. I got the truth. One of us is free.